All right, everyone. Welcome to our second webinar in the 2015 blog, webinar, and seminar series, Back to Basics. Every day there's more and more clutter in the world, so it's very easy to get distracted and to lose focus. So we're continuing our Back to Basic conversation about how to connect with your audience. And this is an interactive presentation, so we want to hear your questions. Feel free to post questions on the Hangout, in the YouTube comments, or you can tweet at us using the RPS Back to Basics hashtag noted here. We'll also post it in the comments to make it easy for you guys to find it. All right, for those of you who don't know Rock, Paper, Scissors, I am Amanda Sett, Creative Director here at Rock, Paper, Scissors. We have been in the business for 3 decades, so we have seen a lot of change and done a lot of changing ourselves to keep up with the time. We are a branding and web development firm. That means that we focus on our clients' brands, not just their logos and marketing collateral, but the entire experience, which in today's world includes the digital experience. So anything from your website to your social media to your email marketing and more. All right, before we get started, I want to do a little recap because this series is continuing to build on itself. All right, so back in February, we started with Know Thy Customer, and it is about taking the time to understand who your customer is and what their lives are like to help you create value and trust. This step so often gets skimmed over when starting on a marketing plan, and it makes all the difference. So you're going to hear me come back to this a lot throughout our conversation today. And we're also going to put a link in the Hangout in YouTube for this article, so if you want to go catch up on it or read it later, it'll be there for you. All right, the second in our series was in March, and we talked about marketing channels. Today, information overload is almost unavoidable. You can put your brand anywhere from the grocery store cart to Facebook to Pandora to race cars, but how do you connect and cut through that clutter? If you know who your customer is and what they do, then you put your message where they are when it's convenient for them. It cuts down on your clutter and it creates value for your customer. All right. For the rest of the year, we're going to dig into the major marketing channels to give you some of the ins and outs. So today we're going to focus on email marketing. So please note, email marketing may not be for your product or service. If you've taken the time to profile your customer and know their lifestyle and know that they're addicted to that chime in their inbox, then the next 20 minutes is going to help you connect in a more meaningful way with your customer and potential customers. So every year I have clients ask me if email is dying. And then I ask them, what is the first thing that they do every day when they get to work? So that usually answers that question. So email is alive and thriving. So that is not our challenge. Our challenge is to get your email in your customer's inbox to inspire action. Like, how do you create an email marketing campaign that your customers look for in their inboxes and gives you the ROI that grows your business? I'll give you a hint. There's a lot of planning, but we're going to give you the cliff notes today to get you started. So I want to interject a quick little shameless plug here. On Thursday, April 23rd, we're going to have a deeper presentation about email marketing here at our office in the evening. We are going to start with some networking so everybody gets to know each other, and then we'll have about an hour or so presentation and discussion where we can get deeper into this and spend some time on your specific questions and situations. So go ahead and mark your calendar, and we'll also send out some more specific information after this as well. All right. There are two sides to email marketing, those who send and those who receive. First step to building a campaign is understanding these two roles and what you need each role to do. This is the foundation of your strategy. Today, we're going to focus on the receiver. This too often gets overlooked when companies are just trying to get their message out there and that they forget who they're serving. So we'll briefly mention some of the technical information for sending and measuring, but we'll leave most of that content for our seminar on the 23rd And for those of you who are out of state, we will post a summary of this event so you can still get all that really good content. All right, the first step to your strategy is to define the receiver. Before you even want to think about sending out or which platform you're using, you need to understand your receiver. We're going to go back to that know thy customer. Being successful using this particular marketing channel takes diligence in knowing who your customer is and what resonates with them. So some things you want to think about when trying to define your receiver is, what do they need from you? How can you add value to their life? What is their life like? Are they at their computer all day, or are they connected to their phone? What does their day look like? Are they checking email all day, or do they focus on emails at 7 a.m. or just when they put kids to bed at night? Once you know who you're serving, then we need to focus on how you're serving and define the need. So what need are you filling in your customers' lives? Are you easing a pain? What are your customers struggling with or frustrated with? If you can answer these questions, you've established the foundation for your email campaign content that your readers will value, and they will look forward to this. Okay, we've talked about the customer enough. What do they need to do for you? So we want to define the action. Do they need to buy something? Do they need to sign up for something? Do you want them to share something? Understand the purpose the client will serve in your business in both the short term and the long term. Define your call to action so you have something to measure to know that this campaign is actually working. All right, so we're going to play pretend. We know who we're reaching and what we need them to do. So here is so we are ready to really start crafting the content. So before we start writing, I want you to play pretend to be your customer. So I want you guys to think about this for a second and go through some questions and start to create this in your mind. Where are your customers when they check their email? What device do they use? What kind of other emails are they getting? Do you have a clear picture of the chaos that they're living in? All right, if you have a good picture of this in your mind, now you can craft a subject line that overcomes everything that you just pictured. So this should be a good challenge. You should spend just as much time on your subject line as you do writing the content. If it isn't interesting enough, your customer is never going to read the content and click through to see what you wrote. So take the time to really make sure you're writing a subject line that connects. Your subject lines are your first opportunity to stand out among the multitude of emails already in your inbox and say to the reader, this is something you want to read. Engaging, bold, and captivating subject lines cause readers to not only open your emails, but look forward to seeing them in your inbox. We're going to post a link to a HubSpot article that has some great examples of subject lines that should help you on this creative journey. All right. Now we can actually talk about what's going in the email. I hope you did not think this was going to get any easier. Before you start writing, we need to define your brand and your engagement factors. We need to establish your goals, your brand tone, your length, and how you're going to track engagement. The ultimate goal of each individual email should always be evident and communicated throughout the email. That goal should always be expressed through the established tones that you've created for your brand. Also, when crafting your content, remember, we can't measure eyeballs on an email, but we can track interactions. So don't put all of your content in your email. Put enough of a description to get people to click and read more. Remember, this is a marketing channel, and that implies that we are using it to move something through it. We want to use email to drive people based on your initial call to action. So are we pushing them to social media? Are we pushing them to your website? Are we pushing them to your shop? Are we trying to get them to actually do a referral? Be clear about that and make sure that's something that you can measure. All right, now that you've crafted your email, we need to talk about actual distribution. When is your customer ready? Another factor to consider when you create your strategy is timing. There are better and worse times of day to get people to engage with your email. Whatever platform you're using will provide you actual open results. So after some trial and error testing, you can really hone in on the optimal time of day. You can also look at your website and your social media analytics to see when your customers are already interacting with your brand to give you a place to start. So now you are actually ready to start sending. All right, so today we focus on the receiver and creating content that is going to connect. At our seminar on the 23rd, we're going to focus on the sender. So we will dive into different platforms, how to choose between MailChimp, Constant Contact, Emma. We'll also go through the technical jargon like opens, bounces, clicks, shares, and everything else. We'll also talk about list building strategies, which is one of my favorites. And we'll also talk about built-in features that make your life easier and your communications more effective. All right, we're going to open up for questions. So we've had a couple questions come in. So we'll start with how much is too much when it comes to sending emails? This is a great question. A lot of this comes back and depends on knowing your customer and understanding what their lifestyle is like, how often they should and would engage with your brand. If you do something like microtransactions, you're going to engage with your customer on a rather frequent basis. Whereas if you're just trying to do a top of mind campaign, you might only be reaching out once a month or once a quarter. You don't want to do it so often that people disengage, but you want to do it often enough that they remember who you are. A great way to be able to measure this is just look at your unsubscribe rate. You're always going to have people join and leave your mail list, and that's fine, because if people choose to unsubscribe, that means that they're not an actual active customer, and then you're not wasting resources reaching out to somebody who's not going to engage. So it's okay to have people unsubscribe, but you want to be aware if all of a sudden you start sending out, let's say you go from weekly to daily, and you go from like a 1 to 2% unsubscribe to like a 10%, then you know that it's too much. And remember that when we're talking about, this goes back to the marketing channels, you're not going to just use one channel to connect with your audience. Email is one place that your customer might be, but they might also be on social media where it's okay to be more frequent. All of that goes, but think about what you really want your product to do. Are you doing a coupon so you want more people to go to your shopping cart? Then be clear about what your specials are and how that coupon applies. If you put links in your email, you want to send people directly to the content that's either on sale or that is getting the coupon, so that you're making it easy. You don't want to make your customer go hunt for them. They've already taken the extra step to click, so you want to make that process as streamlined as possible. So that's a great call to action, is just getting people to go to the website. Sharing is another great thing to do. So if you start writing content and you're trying to do a top of mind campaign, request and ask people to share the information. So that's another great step. And then also asking other people to sign up for additional content using different sign-up forms. And this is not just for emails, but see if you can get a little bit deeper into your client's understanding. So if you have maybe a little bit deeper of a form where you find out a little bit more about their demographics and psychographics, so you can build your customer profile. So you might be sending out some emails that you might not need a customer to have a transaction, but you're doing it to build some of your internal data. So that's what you really want to think about, is what direction is this email going, and what is your ultimate goal? When you know what your ultimate goal is, it's very easy to really map out what that call to action is, so that you, one, can be successful, and two, get the information that you need. All right, how do you customize emails to multiple types of customers? This gets into list building, and we'll definitely spend some time on this on the 23rd. just mentioned about collecting data about your specific customers. There's a lot that you can start to track and gather through these email platforms, seeing what people's habits are or interactions, and starting to build emails based on that logic. That's a super high level strategy you'd be looking at. But you can also do some different segmenting as well. When you build your lists and you put in your client's name and email, you might want to put some more information in there. You might want to put what type of job they're in, or even something like zip codes. So if you have different content for different areas, then you're customizing and segmenting. So you basically take your list and zip codes, for instance, you just do the Southeast zip codes and you send them a customized message. Or if you have a certain type, if you deal with, let's say, CEOs, but you also have some administrators you work with, you might customize the different message for those different segments. So the more data that you can collect and store in your email list, the more you can get in and really start to craft messages that connect with them directly. Okay, here's another one. What kinds of links are the best to include in emails? There's a lot of different types. Basically, a link is anything that's going to drive somewhere else. So you don't think about just about a hyperlink, but you also know that buttons are links as well. So look at the overall layout of your email and how that looks, and where is the eye being drawn. And understand that you might have quite a few different links and call to actions if you have multiple content sections in your email. But take the time to know your priorities, and whatever your priority call to actions are, that content should stand out more than anything else. So it gets a little bit into overall layout and what that user experience is going to be like. All right, I think that is it that we have for questions for right now. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to continue to post them. If not, you can reach out to us directly. Just go through our website, and you can at 123shoot.com. And last up, we'll do a quick recap. So later this month, we will dig deeper. And if you're in the Atlanta area, come out to our office. We're out here in Lawrenceville, and we'll get into some of the specific platform content. So bring questions and challenges, and we'll help you communicate better with your audience. Also, be sure to check out our Back to Basics campaign on our blog if you want to get some of the background information that we've already talked about. And we'll be continuing this conversation throughout the year. Also know we're going to post these slides and this presentation, so feel free to come back to it. We'll send out an email so you guys have that content as part of your resource archive. And also feel free to share this with people who you think will help them. All right, guys, look forward to it, and we'll see you next time.